And personally thanked members of the Canadian Coast Guard and the Canadian Armed Forces who demonstrated the utmost professionalism and expertise throughout the response. I extended my gratitude to all the professional responders who worked diligently to evaluate all leads, mobilize resources, and maintain hope. Their devotion to duty in the face of many complex challenges ensured that we remained always ready to conduct search and rescue operations if needed. The discovery of the Titan submersible wreckage marked the conclusion of the search and rescue aspect of this incident. The Coast Guard has officially convened a Marine Board of Investigation into the loss of the submersible and the 5 people on board. That investigation will be led by Chief Investigator Captain Jason Neubauer. So at this time, I will turn over the mic to him. Captain Neubauer.
Thank you, Admiral Mauger. Good afternoon. Before I discuss the Coast Guard's investigation, I want to express my deepest condolences to the loved ones of the 5 individuals who perished in this tragic incident. My team and myself have been investigating this since we heard the initial reports of lost communications, and my entire team wanted to express their condolences also. As a senior investigator, I have witnessed the personal impacts associated with these types of events, and my primary goal is to prevent a similar occurrence by making the necessary recommendations to enhance the safety of the maritime domain worldwide. Upon receiving notification that the submersible Titan had suffered a catastrophic failure with the loss of the 5 lives on board, the Coast Guard declared a major marine casualty and convened a Marine Board of Investigation, commonly referred to as an MBI, on June 23rd. I am serving as the chair for that investigation. An MBI is the highest level of investigation the Coast Guard conducts, and enables the U.S. to fully leverage investigative resources Coast Guard-wide and capitalize on an extensive network of cooperative relationships with international maritime administrations and organizations. The MBI is currently in its initial evidence collection phase, including debris salvage operations at the incident site and evidence collection in coordination with Canadian authorities in the port of St. John's, Newfoundland. After the on-scene evidence collection efforts conclude, the MBI will typically hold a formal hearing to gather additional witness testimony and evidence in a setting that is available to the public. During the course of the MBI, the board will first and primarily work to determine the cause of this marine casualty and the 5 associated deaths. The MBI, however, is also responsible for accountability aspects of the incident, and it can make recommendations to the proper authorities to pursue civil or criminal sanctions as necessary. However, any subsequent enforcement activities would be pursued under a separate investigation. The MBI is also working in close coordination with other national, domestic, and international investigative authorities, including the United States National Transportation Safety Board, Canadian Transportation Safety Board, French Marine Casualties Investigation Board, and the United Kingdom Marine Accident Investigation Branch. Upon completion of this investigation, the MBI will issue a report to the Commandant of the Coast Guard, Admiral Linda Fagan, with the evidence collected, the facts established, its conclusions, and recommendations. The final report will also be shared with the domestic and international maritime authorities I mentioned, and the International Maritime Organization, the IMO, to help improve the safety framework for submersible operations worldwide. I will now take any questions. Thank you.
Can you walk us through a little bit about the evidence gathering right now? Have you already begun collecting? How does that happen? Is it remote vehicles? Or?
The MBI leverages Coast Guard resources nationwide, and also our international partners to collectively collect evidence. And right now we do have ongoing operations. I mentioned 2 areas: the on-site at the accident wreckage site. We have an ongoing salvage operation, and we are also currently conducting interviews in the port of St. John's.
So are you actually collecting items from the floor?
I've just, at this time, that is the priority of the investigation, is to recover items from the seafloor.
And how do you need to like photograph the site? How do you get a sense of the debris?
Sir, we have already mapped the accident site and the field, and so the other factors would be part of the investigation. I don't want to get too deep into the details at this time, sir.
And what other organizations beyond the Coast Guard are involved? Other international groups?
Yes, sir. I listed several international maritime authorities in my opening statement, including the Canada's Transportation Safety Board, the United Kingdom's Marine Accident Investigation Branch. It's really parties under international protocols. If they have a substantially interest in the investigation, they can request to be part of the Coast Guard's Marine Board. And we've accepted that. Often citizenship of the fatalities on board would automatically make that international country or maritime administration a party to a substantially interested state and a party.
Let's take another question.
Sir, do you have the capability to recover these 5 bodies? And if so, have you communicated that with the family members?
We are communicating with family members, and I'm not getting into the details of the recovery operations, but we are taking all precautions on site if we are to encounter any human remains.
You put a lot of resources into this. Do you have an estimate on how much this costs you for this whole mission?
So, as a matter of U.S. law and Coast Guard policy, the Coast Guard doesn't charge for search and rescue, nor do we associate a cost with human life. We always answer the call. And so the ocean remains an unforgiving environment, and every weekend there are risks that are taken as people go to the water with inadequate safety gear, with inadequate training, or boating while intoxicated. But we still answer the call. We conduct disciplined operations with warranted risk to put our resources and our lives at risk to save others. That's who we are.
Do you think that this investigation might impact future divisible? Can you talk about how this could maybe change the risk factor that other people will take? They knew that they were taking a risk when they went into something like this. Do you think this will change regulations on what vessels will use to go into something like this?
Certainly that is one of the goals of the MBI. That's an opportunity to learn from the incident and then work with our international partners worldwide to do exactly what you mentioned. Improve regulations or international safety standards so that they have improved oversight over these operations and to prevent a similar occurrence.
Do you have an idea of how long it will take to investigate?
I can't give an estimate at this time due to the several of the international investigations going jointly and some of the evidence sharing. You really cannot give a timeline on the investigation itself.
We have time for 2 more questions.
Is there any plan to release any photographs, any images?
Sir, the Marine Board investigation will not be releasing evidence as it's collected out of concern for other investigative parties and the families involved, so that will not be occurring at this time, sir.
I think Canadian authorities impounded the Polar Prince over the weekend here. Have you been able to interview folks on that ship as well that want Titan?
Interviews are scheduled with crew members from the Polar Prince.
Confirm if anything has been brought to the surface yet, how you will do that, and then what the analysis of that debris will be.
The salvage operations are ongoing. I'm not going to give the details of what the recovery has been to date, but the resources are on site and capable of recovering the debris. Okay. Thank you.
Again, thank you all for being here today. For any further media inquiries regarding the investigation into the Titan submersible, my staff and I will be available to provide that contact information.